Except Ariane was no ordinary boat. Two large eyes were painted boldly on its bow, fierce and wide, like the gaze of a god. "They can see the spirits," whispered Mani, the oldest of the crew. "They guard us." When the storm passed and the boat returned safely at dawn, villagers touched the painted eyes in gratitude. It was not luck, they believed. It was protection. From the Mediterranean to the Pacific, from Portuguese sailors to Thai fishermen, you'll find boats adorned with eyes, painted, carved, even sculpted. These aren't decorations. They are guardians. For centuries, sailors believed that drawing eyes on boats protects them from sea spirits, monsters, and misfortune. A boat, they say, must be able to see danger before it comes. But where did this idea begin? What spirits were they protecting themselves from? And why does this custom survive, even today? Let us set sail into the mystery behind one of the sea's oldest superstitions. The sea has always been a place of mystery, beautiful and brutal, bountiful and deadly. Before modern navigation and engines, sailors were at the mercy of tides, stars, and spirits. In ancient Egypt, the Nile was not just a river, it was a divine path. Egyptian boats were carved with the Ejat, or Eye of Horus, as a symbol of protection, healing, and power. The eye saw all, warding off evil and guiding the vessel safely. The Phoenicians, master seafarers of the Mediterranean, painted eyes on their warships and merchant vessels. To them, eyes gave the boat sight, a soul of its own. It could see storms, pirates, and sea beasts lurking ahead. In ancient Greece, eyes were often painted on the prow, the front tip, of triremes and cargo ships. Called oculus, these eyes invoked divine watchfulness, particularly from gods like Poseidon or Apollo, who could calm or crush the waves with a glance. Meanwhile, in China, Taoist beliefs merged with local sea customs. Chinese junks featured eyes to help the vessel find its way. Without eyes, the boat would be considered blind, an offense to the Dragon King, guardian of oceans. All these ancient cultures shared one powerful idea: the sea is alive, and a boat must be awake to survive it. Across the oceans of the world, the eyes on boats take many forms, but the belief remains remarkably similar: a boat with eyes can see danger, find its path, and protect those aboard. In modern Greece and Cyprus, boats still bear the painted eyes of protection, often with a cross nearby. This tradition is so strong that even tourist boats are painted with eyes, not just for heritage, but for blessing. Fishermen in Malta decorate their colorful wooden boats, luzzas, with the Eye of Osiris, an ancient Egyptian holdover. Despite centuries of Christianity, the old pagan symbols remain, layered with new meanings. Now, the eyes protect not only from spirits, but also from jealousy, curses, and the ever-present threat of drowning. In Vietnam's Mekong Delta, boats have large, round eyes painted on either side of the prow. Locals believe these eyes scare away monsters that live in the river, as well as dragons and evil spirits that may emerge during certain moon phases. The boats often carry offerings, flowers, incense, or food tied beside the painted eyes. In Thailand, fishermen perform ceremonies before painting the eyes on a new boat. Spirits of the water must be informed and respected. The eyes don't just ward off danger, they signal to sea spirits that this vessel is protected and sacred. Along parts of the West African coast, particularly in Ghana and Senegal, boats are painted with powerful symbols, eyes included. These are often combined with words or numbers believed to carry protective vibrations. Fishermen believe that spirits live beneath the waves, and if a boat lacks its sacred markings, it may become an open invitation for harm. In Madagascar, fishing boats called lakana are carved with faces, including eyes and even mouths, so that the vessel can speak to the sea spirits and see its way home safely. In Polynesian cultures, boats are deeply spiritual. Canoes were traditionally blessed with chants and symbols to appease gods like Tangaroa, the deity of the ocean. Eyes might be carved or woven into the sails and sides of the canoe, reminding everyone that the boat was alive, connected to the spirits of ancestors and the gods of the waves. In Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, and parts of Haiti, boats often bear watchful eyes, sometimes with Christian crosses or protective saints nearby. This mix of Catholicism and African-rooted spirituality reflects the Caribbean's layered culture. Fishermen often anoint the boat's eyes with rum or holy water before long voyages. Across all these cultures, one thing is clear: the eyes are not decoration. They are guardians. Why do we give eyes to boats? Why do we paint them, carve them, or pray to them? Because we are not just afraid of the sea. We are afraid of the unseen. The ocean, with all its beauty, is a realm of unknown depth. No matter how experienced a sailor is, there's always a sense of surrender, an admission that the sea is beyond control. In psychology, this connects to what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, universal symbols shared across humanity. The eye is one of these archetypes. It represents watchfulness, insight, safety, and divine presence. To paint an eye on a boat is to psychologically externalize your need for protection. It says, I am watched. I am not alone. There's also the sense of anthropomorphism, the human tendency to give non-human objects feelings, minds, and in this case, sight. A boat becomes a companion, a sentient guide. In emotionally tense life stages, before a journey, during grief, in the face of illness or danger, symbols like eyes become tools for anxiety relief. They reduce the feeling of chaos. They help people believe that someone or something is watching over them. Scientific studies have shown that even images of eyes in public places, like on signs, can reduce theft or encourage better behavior. Just the idea of being watched has a profound psychological impact. So imagine this: you're a sailor with nothing but the horizon ahead, no land in sight, and the sound of waves crashing under your feet. You glance at the front of your boat, and the eyes are there, watching for you. Throughout history, there have been stories, recorded and remembered, where the eyes painted on a boat were believed to have saved lives, foretold danger, or granted a vessel its spiritual power. Let's look at a few remarkable examples where the superstition of watchful eyes was more than a symbol, it was a legend. In 1843, a Greek cargo ship named Panagia was en route from Santorini to Athens, carrying olive oil and grain. Just an hour after departure, the sea grew restless. The crew, mostly young fishermen, insisted the voyage continue. But the ship's captain, an older man named Lefteris, noticed something strange. The painted eye on the ship's right side had peeled away in the sun. Lefteris reportedly halted the journey and ordered the crew to turn back, despite protests. The storm that struck that night wrecked several boats in the same corridor. Only the Panagia, which never fully entered the open sea, survived. In the aftermath, Lefteris claimed, "The boat went blind. It couldn't see, so I closed her eyes and came home." To this day, villagers in Santorini tell the story of the blind boat that warned its captain. During World War II, Malta was under heavy bombardment. Civilians and sailors alike relied on old beliefs for hope. Fishermen painted eyes on boats, not just for protection from the sea, but from falling bombs. One particular lazu, called St. Lucia's watch, was believed to have avoided enemy fire multiple times. Some claimed that whenever the boat was in open water, bombers would veer off or malfunction. After the war, the boat was preserved as a symbol of spiritual defense. Today, it rests in a maritime museum, its twin eyes still intact. In 1991, a Thai fisherman named Somchai claimed that his boat's painted eyes blinked before a voyage, cracking and warping under the sun just hours before departure. Alarmed, he cancelled the trip, despite clear skies. That same day, an unexpected storm capsized 3 boats from his village. Somchai's boat remained docked, with its eyes repainted by hand the next morning. Some dismissed the story as folklore. Others called it a blessing from Mae Phim, the sea goddess of Thailand. Regardless, to this day, Somchai's family still blesses the eyes of every new boat they build. From Homer's Odyssey to the maritime songs of the Caribbean, the eye motif has haunted storytelling. In West African oral poetry, a common metaphor for fate is, "A boat with no eyes will never find the river's end." In Filipino folklore, boats built for spiritual journeys across the sea of the dead must have eyes, lest the spirits swallow them whole. Even modern fiction and animation often portray ships with expressive eyes or faces, not just for character design, but because our collective memory associates eyes with power, awareness, and fate. In today's high-tech world of sonar, radar, GPS, and satellite navigation, you might wonder, do people still paint eyes on boats? Absolutely. In Greek islands like Mykonos and Santorini, It's still common for fishermen, and even tourist boat owners, to paint eyes near the bow. They may call it tradition, but the undertone is always the same: it keeps us safe. In Malta, the practice is legally protected for traditional fishing boats. The eye symbol is registered as part of cultural heritage and maintained even when boats are repaired or modernized. Across Vietnam's Mekong River, eyes are required for certain transport boats, especially those that cross sacred waters. In Thailand, newly built boats are still blessed by monks and elders, who chant while the eyes are painted on. In India's coastal states like Goa and Kerala, fishermen still mark their boats with fierce eyes and Sanskrit mantras. It's common to see freshly painted eyes anointed with coconut oil or turmeric as part of launching ceremonies. Even in the modern Navy, you'll find remnants of this belief. Some warships and patrol boats use animalistic paintwork, shark teeth, eagle eyes, not just for intimidation, but because of an unspoken superstition among sailors that an eye makes the vessel spiritually aware. Social media is filled with travelers posting photos of colorful boats with wide, cartoonish or fierce eyes. And often, captions read something like, "She's watching the sea for me." The belief may no longer be spoken aloud in every harbor, but it still lives in paint, in practice, and in pride. Beliefs can guide or mislead. So when it comes to painting eyes on boats, we must ask, is this superstition harmless tradition, or can it cause harm? On the surface, this custom seems peaceful. It doesn't promote fear or exclusion. There's no sacrifice, no curse, no punishment. Instead, it offers protection, a sense of control, and connection to ancestors. For generations of fishermen and seafarers, painting eyes on boats has been a ritual of love and faith, not fear. It helps communities feel watched over. It binds them through shared heritage. It gives elders a role in boat building, where stories and blessings can be passed down. And in many ways, it humanizes the sea. A terrifying force becomes something we can negotiate with, appease, or understand. Even skeptics admit it does no harm and brings emotional strength. But critics raise an important point. What happens when faith in painted eyes replaces preparation? Can superstition become a false sense of safety? In a few tragic cases, boats with poorly maintained engines or lacking emergency supplies were still blessed and sent out because the eyes were painted. Safety, training, or maintenance was neglected in favor of symbolic protection. In this way, belief can distract from responsibility. Others point out that relying too heavily on ritual might discourage innovation, or worse, cause fear in younger generations who question it. If someone's boat is attacked by pirates, or sinks in a storm, are they told it's because the eyes failed? Does blame become spiritual, when it should be logistical? These are hard questions. Yet, for every story where superstition might have led someone astray, there are dozens where it brought people together, offering courage, storytelling, and connection to ancestral values. Perhaps the true power of this superstition lies not in the paint, but in the meaning people give it. And so, we return to the sea, to the painted eyes that have watched thousands of dawns and thousands of storms. We've journeyed across continents, from Egypt to Malta, from Thailand to Haiti, uncovering the origins, evolutions, and emotions tied to the superstition of eyes on boats. This belief is more than myth. It's a lens into how humans face the unknown. The ocean is deep, unpredictable, and vast, and in facing it, people didn't just build boats. They gave them eyes. They turned wood and rope into companions. They asked the sea to spare them and gave their vessels the power to see, so they wouldn't drift into darkness alone. What does this teach us? That symbols matter. That faith, whether religious, cultural, or spiritual, often anchors us in ways reason cannot. Because when you're far from land, and the sky turns black, and the water roars beneath you, you want to believe in something. Sometimes, it's a god. Sometimes, it's your own courage. And sometimes, it's the eyes on your boat. Eyes that remind you, you are not unseen. You are not alone. So perhaps the next time you walk past a boat with eyes, you'll pause and wonder what they've seen, what they've survived, and what they're still watching for. The sea may be vast, but the stories we share about it are what keep us grounded. And whether you believe in sea spirits or not, You now know why those watchful eyes appear on boats around the world. They're not just decoration. They are tradition. They are protection. They are memory. If you've enjoyed this exploration, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, share and like this video, and leave a comment below. Have you ever seen a boat with eyes? What superstitions did your family or culture teach you about travel or water? Next time, we'll dive into another ancient belief, one that whispers through mirrors and lingers in dreams. Until then, may the wind guide your sail. May your shadow walk beside you. And may the eyes on your boat always see the danger before it comes. Stay curious, stay safe, and stay wise.